There is dust covering the walls, floor, ceiling, and everything in between. Small particles of it are illuminated by the dull glow of 100 stuttering lamps. A door opens and 2 hooded acolytes enter. Shuffling their feet in small cloth slippers, they pass between rows and rows of artifacts, all categorized and stored for safekeeping. Suddenly, one stops, holding up a hand for the other to do so. "What is it?" whispers the younger of the two. "The greatest achievement of our past," the elder replies. Reverently, he lifts a small rectangular item from its place amidst burning incense and candles. As its details come into view, the younger acolyte gasps, "Who designed such beauty?" The elder, tears wet in his eyes, sets the copy of Half-Life 3 back in its place. His name was Gabe Newell. Okay, maybe that was a little overdramatic. I doubt that in any dystopian future, mankind will rush to save copies of The Last of Us and Bioshock Infinite to safeguard amongst the finest of humanity's endeavours. As much as I like to imagine Team Fortress 2 being tucked away next to the Mona Lisa, the video games industry will probably never get the respect, as an art form, it deserves. Why is that? There are plenty of arguments. Keely Santiago outlined in 2009 that video games as an art form are still in their infancy, comparable to cave paintings in age, not complexity. Several critics have admitted that games do contain art in their traditional forms, graphics, music and story, but that as a whole, they cannot be considered as such. Notable proponents on the not art argument include Metal Gear Solid luminary Hideo Kojima. He told PlayStation 2 magazine that since the highest ideal of a video game is to achieve 100% player satisfaction, it should be labelled as a deliverable service, rather than an artistic undertaking. Video games represent an incredibly new medium of enjoyment and expression, something that has shocked and alarmed many established art critics. Gaming faces hypocritical analysts like no other emerging art form has before. If a game conforms to its childlike origins, games like Kirby's Epic Yarn, they are dismissed as juvenile and unworthy of critique. If a game attempts to stretch the boundaries and introduce adult themes and concepts, Mass Effect and Grand Theft Auto for example, then it faces criticism for failing to stick to the predefined, outdated notion that video games are for children. It's a catch-22 situation for developers and players. Games have rallied against that labelling as far back as Myst in 1991, attempting to convey that playing games was not, as Roger Ebert described it, a loss of those precious hours that we have available to make ourselves more cultured. Museums have begun to acquiesce, however. The Smithsonian held an exhibit in 2012 named The Art of Video Games, and later added Halo 2600 as a permanent exhibit. The Museum of Modern Art in New York aims to collect all games labelled as historically important to use in exhibitions on gaming as an art form. Of course, the gaming industry will always be followed by the darker labels it receives from the media. So as long as there are news sites, papers and TV channels willing to label troubled people and criminals as gamers because they like to play a few hours of Call of Duty, people will forever associate the pastime with childish and even dangerous behaviour. There is danger too of gamers themselves harming the perception of video games. The vocal minority is always the easiest to listen to. They shout the loudest and hurl the most insults. Issues like Gamergate, while good-natured at heart, have through misrepresentation, misinformation and a lot of angry trolling relabeled gaming as the pastime of misogynistic idiots, despite how hard gamers are trying to refute it. Perhaps there lies a key issue. Gamers are divided. Recent studies have found that a vast majority of gamers, those who play any form of game regularly, are adult and middle-aged women. Even if you remove those playing Candy Crush on Facebook from 5 PM to 9 PM, you will still find divisions. But most don't really care if it's considered art or not. To many, gaming would always be what they do to unwind, forget about their day, and enjoy. Which, when you think about it, is the same thing people enjoy about films, paintings, and exhibitions. Doesn't matter if it's specifically labelled art. With the proliferation of indie games, which continually push the boundaries of the genre, and the growing population of adult gamers, the future does at least look bright. Gaming has grown up. All it takes is for the rest of the world to realise it. Perhaps one day what had once been regarded in the same breath as ancient cave paintings will be as revered as the Sistine Chapel. Maybe.